When you read the title for this video today, why are you not loving yourself? Or why do you not love yourself? What prompted you to click? Can you relate to it? And do you have a sense already why you are not loving yourself? Just the question itself, it's kind of really sad to even pose such a question or suggest such a thing as not loving yourself, not loving myself. And unfortunately, I don't know if I have ever met anybody who truly loves themselves. I know there are some people who really have a very loving demeanor around themselves and other people. So, of course, there are those who do. And I think that has a lot to do with how we grew up, what kind of family we had, what kind of parents we had, how we were treated, if we were allowed to be ourselves. So yes, of course they are out there. I just don't meet them very often. I can always, you can always sense that there is some kind of there's something wrong with me. I'm not okay. I'm not lovable. And those are the beliefs, of course, that we take on as a child, that we are not lovable the way we are. Our needs are not important. We don't matter. There's all these things that start building up over a lifetime. And then we end up, this little dried raisin, just like, I'm not lovable, so I'm not going to love myself. So I think a lot of the reasons that we are not loving ourselves is that we believe that we are unlovable in whatever way that is. I would say one really good way to start loving yourself is to start paying attention to what matters to you. Even if nobody else cares, even if the whole wide world disagrees with you. When you and I and all of us, when we start going inside and start checking in with how we move in the world, are we constantly veering away from what we really want? Mostly because we don't even know that we're doing it. That's another tricky one, because it's also habitual and programmed into us that we don't question it. It's just how it is, right? Just like a fish swimming in the ocean, that fish does not question the water. It's just how it is. And that's how it is for most of us. It just is, because I am not lovable. I can show you proof my whole life that I was swimming in water, that I am unlovable. And that's just how it is. So why would I even question it? Well, I'm going to ask you to question that today. Why are you not being loving to yourself? Why are you not loving to yourself? Or why are you not loving yourself? What is it in you that prompts such unkindness and harshness to yourself, that you cut yourself off from what you really want more than anything? And that is the truth for all of us. We all want to feel loved, we want to be loved, and we want to be love. Why? Because that is who we are. But as long as we deny ourselves our own love, how would we ever find out? And as long as we ask a higher power, God, spirit, whatever you pray to, if we ask like a higher being, a higher power for their love, we would not even be able to receive it, because we have kind of drawn a line that love is not going to come into me because I don't deserve it. I'm unlovable. And that's the bottom line. And I have certainly lived my life like that. Luckily, many years ago, until I started waking up to my very harsh behavior towards myself. And when I really, really saw it one day, it was one of those epiphany moments where I just was like, oh my God, I am so harsh towards myself. I cried and cried and cried because I could not bear how harsh I had been to myself, how unkind, how critical and judgmental and pushy. Very, very painful to experience that when you really get it at such a deep level. You probably cry because if you see anybody treating anybody like the way we often treat ourselves, there's a good chance we'll feel a lot of compassion and maybe even cry and say, oh my goodness, why are you treating this person this way? So it's just a matter of learning to turn it around and find that kind of love and compassion for ourselves. But to come back to the question, why are you not loving yourself? And I want to invite you to, after this little talk or now, get out a pencil and paper and just jot down the beliefs and the reasons that you have for treating yourself the way you do. I think one of the things that we also can use as proof that where we are unlovable is because we have done things in the past that were not very good, that were not good to others, that was not good to the planet, to our family, to our children. We all have things we have done in the past that were like, oh my God, what did I do? And what we do then is we perpetuate this, like, oh, so embarrassed. And instead of going into that feeling itself, we kind of contract around it and then we start beating ourselves up nonstop. And in that, we are cutting ourselves off from the divine love and fulfillment that we already are. Yes, we have done stupid things and maybe we shouldn't have done that, but we did because we didn't know any better. A lot of us are probably modeling the way our parents behaved because when we're children, we're just like little sponges and we just, we suck it all up and then it becomes our identity and then we start acting it out ourselves. Unless we have some awareness, then we can choose, like, I don't want to do that, and then really go in and release that energy we've taken in. But yeah, so we have done things that were not great. And again, I don't know if there's anybody out there who has not done that. So let's just acknowledge that, not deny it or push it away, but bring it up and say, yeah, I did something really, really selfish. I was just thinking of myself. I was really unkind and harsh to that person. I cheated here. I lied there. I created a big drama here. Any of those things that we have all done, it will not help you to carry that with you as a shameful thing. It will serve all of us much better, not just the perpetrator, but everybody around them. If we just take it in and feel the remorse, like, oh my God, really feel it at the core. And if you need help with that, and I would say most of us do, if we really want to get down for a deep, true healing to take place, we need assistance. We need some support from somebody who knows how can help you get there. and not just go, in a few steps and then clamp around it and maybe do it in your head or, think you've done it. When you are down there, it just happens automatically because the solution and the answer and the healing is right in there. So it's not something you do up here. I remember recently I had somebody say, I've I've let it go and I've moved on. And I could feel there was still so much unresolved energy and anger in there. But the person thought they had done it. And I really believe they thought they had done it. And they had truly to a certain extent. But then there was still the pain left in the body that was still, seeing through a lens, seeing things that may not be true, or, thinking they were free from it, but energetically you can feel it was not free because it impacts you. So we don't want to do it till here. We want to bring it all the way down. And it is a very, very important part of our spiritual journey, I would say, to be able to go down there with a loving energy, with a loving presence, with the help from somebody who can show you and mentor you how to do that. We didn't learn that in our family. We didn't learn that at school. We can learn it from somebody who has taken that path and knows how to take those steps. So then when you go down there, and it can be painful, it can be scary, but learning to be present with all these layers and breathing through it and taking your time and listening and fleshing it out, then eventually there's a part where there's, how should I say, there's a clarity, there's a love, there is an energy that you can only find down here, not up here. And once you get down there, there's something really important that happens. And that is that you have choice. You don't have choice up here because you're kind of all spun around, in this pain. But when you go through the layers of pain, you find that there's choice. And this choice is so important because here you can say, you know what? I don't want to treat myself like that anymore. And I want to go and apologize to that person. And I don't want to do that anymore. And in that, there is a lot of energy in that choice. And that energy will help you move back into your life in a new way without the beating yourself up, without the criticizing yourself. So in that, you are actually beginning to be more loving to yourself. Just by bringing your attention and your energy down into that pain, into the shame. And from there, you can start moving out. And you will notice that you will not be so hard on yourself anymore because you have released that energy down here. And now you can be more kind to yourself. Now you can treat yourself and others in a new way from an openness, not just from, a suppressed layer with a nice face on top, but from an openness. And that is very life-changing, I would say. I know there's many, many other ways how we don't love ourselves. One is that, of course, that we do not listen and we may just keep pushing through something. We may work too much. We may stay in a relationship that we shouldn't be in. That can be many, many things. And it's because we are not listening in here to the yes and to the no. And I have talked about that on several videos before. So learning to listen to what is natural for you and honorable and in alignment with your energy, with your flow. So that's another really important piece about loving yourself, to get to know your landscape, to get to know your pace and the flow of you, of your energy. Is it a yes? Is it a no? And if it's a no, do you try and say yes and go in the opposite direction? And then you beat yourself up because it's not right for you. So it's kind of coming back here and really learning to live from a yes to your flow. That is very, very loving to yourself. There might be people who don't like it because you're used to being, shall we say, a people pleaser. And suddenly you're not going to be a people pleaser. You're going to be your own soul pleaser, your own divinity pleaser. And then those who are used to you being like this, they're not going to like it. And that can be tricky, right? Because we want to be liked, because we don't really like ourselves enough to be true to ourselves. There's a lot to this. There's a lot to this because we have moved so far away from who we truly are. And it's really sad. But it's possible. It can totally be done. And there are so many people rising up in their own truth, in their own sovereignty. And then you meet other people who do the same, and they will encourage you to say yes when you feel a yes and no when you feel a no, because they want you to be true, because then they can be true. So it's like creating a whole new tribe of people who live from this inner flow of their divine sovereignty. Yeah, I think I want to stop here for today. And I really want to invite you to maybe write down a little bit and or ponder, why are you not loving yourself? If this is true for you, maybe you are, and that's fantastic. But if you're not, or if you're not sure, just do a little inquiry and say, why am I not loving to myself? Why am I not loving myself? Oh. And then you take a little time and feel, and then you'll come up, something will show up like a memory or a pattern, and you'll go, oh yeah, all right. Yeah. And then don't beat yourself up for doing that, but take the first step and go, oh, okay, I see that now. Thank you for showing me. And then you'll see where you want to take the next step. I do have a book called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself. It's like, imagine that, right? And I wrote that many years ago because I started seeing how it all works. And I've seen a lot more since then. But there's some exercises in there. There's a lot of clarity. So if you want to start that, I'll put the link in the descriptions below. And again, please comment, connect with me, let me know how that lands for you. And if it resonates, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And I would love to hear from you and what you find. Okay? Have a wonderful day.